Two women graduate in the same year from the same state university. Same degree, same starting salary, $48,000. They both land jobs as marketing coordinators in a mid-sized city. Same rent, same monthly take-home of about $3,100 after taxes. Their apartments are just 3 miles apart. On Sundays, they even go to the same coffee shop. Fast forward 10 years. One of them opens her banking app on a Tuesday and checks her balance the way you check the weather, casually, without stress. She has $47,000 in a brokerage account, a used 2021 Honda she owns outright, and a mortgage payment that fits comfortably within her budget. The other one has 3 unread voicemails from a number she doesn't recognize. There's a drawer in her kitchen she hasn't opened since February because she knows exactly what's inside. She now makes $67,000 a year, almost $20,000 more than when she started, but somehow has less financial breathing room than she did at 23. They earn the same income. They live in the same city. This isn't really a story about money. It's a story about what happens when small, normal decisions stack up over a decade. My name is Nick, and I spend way too much time thinking about why people who start in the same place end up in completely different financial realities. If you've ever felt like you're earning more than you used to, but somehow falling further behind, then this is exactly what we're going to break down. Today, we're going to follow one of those women, we'll call her Maya, through every stage of debt most people experience. From her first car loan at 23, all the way to the point where things start to unravel. And we're going to run the numbers, because the math tells the entire story. Maya is 23. She just started her job. She's not reckless, she's careful. She budgets, reads about personal finance, understands that compound interest matters. Her monthly take-home pay is $3,100. Her rent is $1,200, leaving her with $1,900 for everything else: groceries, utilities, phone, health insurance, gas, and savings. It's tight but manageable. She has $2,400 in savings and 0 debt. She's exactly 1 car away from level 1. Level 1, the car loan. Maya's car breaks down on a Tuesday. The mechanic tells her it's the timing belt, and the repair will cost more than the car itself is worth. She needs transportation to get to work, and like most 23-year-olds, she doesn't have $12,000 in cash sitting around. So by Thursday afternoon, she's at a dealership. The salesperson is friendly, polished, and within minutes slides a worksheet across the desk, the Foursquare. It breaks everything into 4 boxes: vehicle price, trade-in value, down payment, and monthly payment. But this sheet isn't designed to help Maya make a smart financial decision. It's designed to shift her focus away from the total cost and lock her attention onto one number: the monthly payment. Because that number can always be made to look reasonable. Maya ends up financing a $28,000 used Honda. Nothing flashy, 7 years old, 44,000 miles. After putting down $4,000, most of her savings, the loan comes to $24,000 at 9.1% APR over 60 months. Her monthly payment, $499. She signs the papers, drives home, and feels okay about it. What she doesn't think about is the full picture. Over 5 years, she'll pay a total of $29,940 on that $24,000 loan. That's $5,940 in pure interest, for a car that will likely be worth around $7,000 by the time she's done paying for it. And the costs don't stop there. She now needs full coverage insurance, $180 a month. Gas runs about $120. Registration and maintenance at another $80 monthly on average. That $499 car payment, it's actually costing her closer to $879 every month. Now her budget looks very different. Take-home income, $3,100. Rent, $1,200. Total car costs, $879. That leaves her with about $1,021 for everything else. Here's what happened behind the scenes on that deal. The finance and insurance manager at the dealership made roughly $1,900 in back-end profit. That came from add-ons, extended warranties, paint protection, and gap insurance. all rolled into the loan at 9.1% interest. The paint protection coating cost the dealer around $200 and was sold to Maya for $800 to protect the paint on a used car she parks outside in a city with snow. The gap insurance? She financed it at 9.1% interest, even though she could have purchased similar coverage through her auto insurer for about $6 a month. She didn't know that. No one told her, because no one in that transaction profits when Maya makes the optimal financial decision. The dealership made $1,900. Maya got a monthly payment. Her savings are now down to about $400. The check engine light isn't on yet, but something is off. The only real signal at this stage is that she can't seem to rebuild her savings, no matter how careful she tries to be. She doesn't understand why yet, but she will. Level 2, Student Loans. 6 months into her job, an email shows up from her loan servicer with the subject line, "Welcome to repayment," complete with an exclamation point, as if this is something worth celebrating, as if she's been waiting for this moment, as if starting to pay back $34,000 she borrowed at 18 is some kind of milestone she should be excited about. She doesn't feel welcomed. She doesn't feel welcomed. She feels like someone just showed up to collect. Let's be clear before we get into the numbers. Student loans aren't what happens when you're irresponsible. They're what happens when you follow the instructions you were given. Maya was 17 when she signed her master promissory note. She didn't know what that meant, and neither did most of the other 17-year-olds around her. The school handed her a financial aid package, pointed to a number, and said, "This is how you go to college." The same school with a growing endowment. The same one building multi-million-dollar facilities. She signed because that's what she was told to do. The average federal student loan balance is now around $39,547 per borrower. Maya's is $34,000 at 6.5% interest on a standard 10-year plan. Her monthly payment is $386. But here's what almost nobody explains. Most borrowers don't actually finish in 10 years. The real average is closer to 20. Life gets in the way. About 21% of borrowers actually see their balances grow in the first 5 years because their payments don't even cover the interest. The system is built to extend, not resolve. Now look at Maya's full budget. Take-home pay, $3,100. Rent, $1,200. Car costs, $879. Student loan, $386. That leaves her with $635 for everything else. She doesn't make a big, dramatic change. She just quietly stops renewing her gym membership. She starts bringing lunch to work every day. She's not in crisis, but every purchase now comes with a mental calculation. Every single one. Her savings? Still sitting at $400, unchanged for 9 months. She's now one unexpected expense away from the next level. Level 3, credit cards. Her car needs new brakes. The bill is $740. She doesn't have it, so she puts it on the credit card she's had since college. The one she opened at a checkout counter because someone told her she'd save 15% on a $47 purchase. She saved about $7. Now she owes $340 on that card at 31.2% APR. She's been making minimum payments for 14 months, and in that time, she's paid down about $11 of the original balance. That's $7 she saved. It's already cost her $94 in interest, and it's not done yet. That's effectively a 1-28% markup on a discount. Total U.S. credit card debt has now reached about $1.28 trillion, the highest level ever recorded, up 66% from pandemic lows. The average household carrying a balance owes around $11,570, with average APRs near 22.3%. Store cards are even worse, averaging closer to 30%. And that 22% interest rate? It sounds abstract until you actually slow down and run the numbers. If Maya carries a $3,200 balance at 24% APR and only makes the minimum payment, about 2% of the balance, or $64. Here's what happens. Out of that $64, roughly $54 goes to interest. Only $10 reduces the actual balance. So next month, she owes $3,190. And the cycle repeats. At that pace, it takes about 14 years to pay off $3,200. And she'll pay roughly $4,800 in interest on top of it. She borrowed $3,200 and ends up paying back about $8,000. That minimum payment on the statement isn't a helpful guideline, it's carefully designed. Teams of behavioral economists work to find the lowest number that feels responsible while keeping people paying for as long as possible. In fact, research published in Psychological Science found that when minimum payments were removed from statements, people increased their payments by about 70%. That number isn't there to help, it's there to anchor you. And it works exactly as intended. Maya's total balance is now $3,200 across 2 cards. She's making minimum payments, about $118 combined, because that's all she feels she can manage. Now her full budget looks like this. Take-home income, $3,100. Rent, $1,200. Car costs, $879. Student loan, $386. Credit card minimums, $118. Remaining for everything else, $527. She starts refreshing her bank account in the parking lot before walking into Target, just to see the number first. It's not even a conscious habit anymore. It's automatic. At restaurants, she's doing math in her head while everyone else is talking. She always orders the second cheapest item on the menu, not the cheapest, because that feels too obvious. The second cheapest feels normal. She keeps telling herself the credit card balance is temporary. It's been temporary for 19 months. Level 4, the mortgage. Maya is 29 now. She gets a raise, up to $58,000 a year. She's been renting for 6 years, and her rent just jumped to $1,450. Her parents keep reminding her, gently, repeatedly, that she's basically paying someone else's mortgage. So she decides to buy. The mortgage broker reviews her income, runs the numbers, and tells her she's approved for $310,000. He says it like it's good news, like being cleared to run a marathon. Approval feels like ability. Maya finds a house for $295,000. She puts 5% down, $14,750, which wipes out her savings and then some, with help from her parents. After closing, she has $0 left. Her mortgage is $280,250 at 6.9% over 30 years. Monthly payment, $1,853. But that's just principal and interest. Now, add everything else. Property taxes, $340 per month. Homeowners insurance, $210 per month. Maintenance, 1% rule, $246 per month. PMI, because she put less than 20% down, $148 per month. Total monthly housing cost, $2,797. Take a second with that number. $2,797 before groceries, before gas, before anything else. Now, let's run her full budget at 29. Take-home income, $3,580. Housing, $2,797. Car costs, $879. Student loan, $386. Credit cards, $185. Remaining, $667, not tight, not stretched. Negative $667 every month. And this is the moment where something shifts. Maya does what millions of people do next. Her student loan servicer has called twice. She hasn't returned the calls, not because she's irresponsible, but because calling back would mean hearing a number she already knows. And hearing it out loud doesn't make it smaller. In 2025, 565,759 Americans filed for bankruptcy, an 11% increase from the year before. December alone saw a 21% year-over-year jump. The average person filing earns between $35,000 and $70,000. These aren't reckless spenders. Roughly 2/3 of personal bankruptcies in the U.S. are tied to medical expenses, not vacations, not impulse buys. A bill for something that happened to their body, something they didn't choose. Maya isn't there yet, but she's 2 unexpected expenses away. And she knows it. She lies awake at 2 a.m., not thinking about anything specific, just running numbers. The car payment, the mortgage, The card balances. What's due on Thursday? She doesn't have insomnia. She has math. People who've gone through bankruptcy often describe the automatic stay, the legal order that stops collection calls, wage garnishment, and creditor contact, as the first moment of peace they've felt in years. The first moment in years. That's not a footnote. That's a reflection of what the system does to people who get caught in it. Now, look at the alternate version of this story. Same Maya. Same $48,000 salary. Same city. Same $1,200 rent. But instead of financing a car, she buys a $9,000 Honda Civic with cash she saved. No car payment. She takes that same $499 monthly payment and invests it into a Roth IRA in a simple S&P 500 index fund. By age 55, that account grows to about $820,000 from money she never spent on a car loan. Meanwhile, the Maya we've been following has a 2019 Honda she's still paying off, $9,400 in credit card debt, a financed water heater, and about $1,100 in savings. Same salary, same city, same coffee shop. Here's the number that should stop you. The average American juggling a car loan, student loans, and credit cards pays around $1,500 a month in non-mortgage debt. If that $1,500 were invested instead at a historical 8% return over 30 years, it becomes roughly $2.2 million. That's not just interest you paid. That's wealth you never got to build. From 1990 to 2025, median household income rose about 180%. In that same time, housing costs rose 427%, healthcare 418%, college tuition 263%, new car prices 223%. Debt isn't just a personal failure. It's the gap between what things cost and what people earn, filled with borrowed money at interest rates that ensure someone else builds wealth while you stay in place. Across the U.S., consumer debt generates about $1 trillion a year in interest. That money isn't building hospitals or funding schools. It's being transferred from borrowers to lenders every single day at scale. The real question isn't whether the system exists. It's whether you understand it well enough to stop it from running on you. I'm not going to tell you to skip small luxuries or download another budgeting app. I'm going to say something much simpler. The fact that you feel financially behind, even though you've done everything right, is not a personal failure. It's a predictable, documented, mathematically inevitable outcome of a system where costs have outpaced wages for decades, and the gap has been consistently filled with debt products designed to be easy to get and expensive to keep. Maya isn't a story about irresponsibility. She's a reflection of what normal looks like now. A car loan at 23. Student loans at 22. Credit cards filling the gaps by 26. A mortgage at 29 that the broker said was fine. And then something goes wrong, because something always does. And suddenly, the entire life you built depends on nothing going wrong. The difference is, now you can see the structure. So here's what that structure actually means in plain terms. When you're sitting in a dealership and a salesperson slides that worksheet across the table, you're not just buying a car. You're being guided away from the total cost and toward a monthly payment that feels manageable. The real question isn't, can I afford $499 a month? It's, what will this cost me over 5 years? And more importantly, what would that same $879 a month become over 30 years if I invested instead? The answer is life-changing, and no one in that room is going to ask it for you. When your credit card statement shows a minimum payment, pay more, always. Even an extra $50 matters. Over time, that's the difference between paying $8,000 on a $3,200 balance and paying less than half of that. When a mortgage broker tells you what you're approved for, understand what that actually means. It's not advice. It's the maximum amount the bank is willing to risk. Your job is to decide what you can realistically afford without living on a razor-thin margin, one unexpected expense away from collapse. There's no trophy for being house poor. Real wealth isn't what you earn. It's the gap between what you earn and what you owe. And the alternate version of Maya built that gap with one simple, unglamorous decision at 23. She bought a cheaper car with cash and invested the difference. That's it. One decision no one applauded. One choice that didn't look impressive. But by 55, it turned into $820,000. That's the entire difference between the two lives you saw at the beginning. The system won't explain this to you. That's why you have to understand it yourself. So now the question is simple. What level are you at right now? And what decision are you about to make next?